Ghost in the Shell is a cyberpunk crime drama that is based on the manga and the original anime film of the same name, and this is essentially a American live-action adaptation of that same anime, now brought to life on the big screen in this new mainstream Hollywood movie. Now, going into this film, I was actually excited. I am a big fan of sci-fi, obviously, and what intrigued me about this film was that it didn't look like just your stereotypical kind of by-the-numbers sci-fi action movie. I have to admit, when the marketing campaign first began, like last year I think it was, the trailers didn't really grab me. I was like, I didn't really know what they were going for. It was intriguing because it looked different, but I didn't know whether it was going to be kind of good different or bad different, you know. But then when we got the later trailers, I started to get more on board with the film. Okay, this looks kind of cool. I might actually go and check this out now. And I have to admit, I've not actually seen the original anime film. However, I do actually really want to go back and watch it now. But that being said, I did actually really enjoy this film. I did think it was a really good film. Now, I was contemplating whether to actually do this review or not. I was actually going to just, pass over it, if you will, and, go straight to my monthly film roundup and then talk about it there. But then I decided I will do a review of this film because even though at first, when the film was initially released, it got a lot of positive reviews and it had like 80% I think on Rotten Tomatoes, and then a few days later a lot more people saw it and it like dropped to like 40%, like a massive drop. So since I saw it, a lot of people have come out saying that they really didn't like it and they thought it was a really bad film. So I thought I would give my perspective on this because I actually liked this movie and I thought it was really good. And I have to admit, as I said, I haven't seen the original anime film, so I can't talk about kind of, similarities and differences between the anime and the live action film. However, from what I'm aware, I think it's mostly similar, and obviously there's some changes that were made, and the fact that, the whitewashing of Scarlett Johansson in the lead role. But for me, none of these kind of issues bothered me in a sense, and I actually thought it was a good film. What I like most about this film, and I think this is something that even people that have hated the film have come out saying that this is like the best thing about the film, is the visuals. This film, from a visual perspective, is stunning. There's just so many kind of gorgeous, striking visuals throughout this film, and I'm a sucker for kind of sci-fi films, like kind of dystopian sci-fi, like Blade Runner, Fifth Element, that kind of thing, and it really looks like something just like that, with these kind of dystopian cyberpunk cityscapes taken straight out of something like, say, Blade Runner or Fifth Element. It's probably more like Fifth Element than it is Blade Runner, but I did get a real kind of Blade Runner vibe from that opening 15 minutes that I saw at the preview. And I just loved how this film looked from a visual perspective, because I'm not a massive fan of the director Rupert Sanders. I haven't seen that many of his other films. However, one of his films that I did see was Snow White and the Huntsman back from 2012, and I was not a fan of that film at all. I think that was really kind of style over substance. But the direction wasn't really the problem with that film. It was more the script. I think it was really poorly written. But from a visual perspective, that film was actually really good. It was only one of my only positives with that film was the visuals. So I don't think the direction was the problem with that film. And it's the exact same thing here, in that from a visual perspective, this film is stunning. It looks really great. However, whereas Snow White and the Huntsman was more style over substance for me, I don't think this film was style over substance. A lot of people have come out saying this film is just style over substance. It looks great, but then it's just hollow and shallow and there's nothing there beneath the surface. I would disagree with that. For me, I found this film really compelling and investing and engaging. I mean, it's not like a really kind of overly kind of emotional film, but I kind of like that. I like that it was kind of almost understated in a way, where it was, for me, it was emotional, it was dramatic, but it was kind of, it was done in a more of an understated and more of a subtle way, and I like that. It was different from what I was expecting, and that feeds into what I like most about this film. For me, the best thing about this film was that it didn't feel like a standard, generic, kind of Americanized, by-the-numbers action movie, and I thought that's what they were going to do. I thought they were going to take the source material and just really kind of Hollywoodize it and make it into a kind of a cliche, by-the-numbers action movie. I really was expecting this to be more like The Matrix, and I love The Matrix, but what surprised me about this film is it was less kind of Blade Runner meets The Matrix. It was more like, I don't know, RoboCop meets Under the Skin almost. And I actually really liked that, because I really wasn't expecting that, and I think in that respect, it was more like the anime, in that it wasn't just a kind of balls to the wall, insane kind of action movie like maybe The Matrix or Mad Max. It was more kind of thought-provoking, and it was more, stimulating, and it was more psychological almost, and I kind of liked that. It wasn't just all about the action. I did like the action in this film. I thought the action was really good. Like I said, it was a lot more understated. It wasn't just all crazy and over the top. but I like the fact that the film was almost like a kind of crime mystery drama that just had some action sequences in there, and that's what I like most about this film. I really wasn't expecting that. I really thought they were going to really Americanize it, but for me it kind of felt foreign almost. It kind of felt more like a Japanese film than it did an American film, even though it is an American movie with an American actress in the lead. I like the fact that it still almost felt like kind of a Japanese film, like a foreign film. It didn't feel like a standard generic American action movie, and I really like that. It is a bit of an odd comparison, but I did really feel kind of like an under the skin vibe watching this film, and that's another kind of very kind of unusual, kind of unconventional, kind of weird film, also starring Scarlett Johansson. I think even though there is a big uproar and controversy surrounding the casting of Scarlett Johansson, and I think it probably would have been better if it was a Japanese actress, because it just would have made more sense. I can totally see why they cast someone like Scarlett Johansson, because they obviously wanted more people to get attracted to go and see it. My sister, for example, came to see it with us, and she doesn't like sci-fi and never sees any sci-fi films, and I'm pretty sure the only reason she probably wanted to go and see this film was because, Scarlett Johansson was in it, because, she would never have seen it otherwise, I don't think. And even though it's kind of not really paid off because the film hasn't done spectacularly at the box office, I do think she was a good choice for that role, because if you look at something like Under the Skin and the kind of the vibes that she channels there, she kind of very much brought that kind of style of performance to this, and it's kind of eerie, almost alien-like. And Under the Skin it is more alien, whereas this is kind of more robot. But she was really kind of channeling those kind of Under the Skin vibes, and I think it really worked. And for me, I was able to kind of get emotionally invested and engaged with her character, because it wasn't an overly kind of emotionally kind of compelling performance, but I think for me it worked because there was enough there, but it was kind of like behind her eyes, it was kind of beneath the surface, but it was kind of still coming through at the same time, because it's a tricky kind of character to play, because she's kind of human at her core, in her soul, but she's in this kind of robotic body, and I think Scarlett Johansson did a really great job at kind of conveying that to us, and that she's human underneath, but she has a difficult time kind of expressing herself and expressing her emotions through this kind of robotic cyborg body. And I think she did a really good job, and I think it was really convincing, and I think in that respect she was a really good choice for that role, because as I said, it was similar to kind of an Under the Skin kind of thing, where it's kind of almost alien-like kind of robotic performance, but there was kind of still some humanity there underneath, and I think she did a really great job. Also, the other cast, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but the guy who played Batu, her kind of right-hand man, if you will, I thought he was great. He almost looked straight out of the anime, from what I've seen from kind of stills and clips and images. He looks straight out of the anime. He looks just like that character, and we even see how he gets the kind of robot eyes. I thought he was really great. I could have done with maybe him having some more screen time, because I really liked him, but then a lot of the film he's not there, but it was kind of mainly focusing on the character of Major. But I really liked his presence in the film. And also the Japanese guy, Takeshi Kitano, I think his name is. He's as the chief, the guy in control there. He was so great in this film, because he doesn't really get a lot to do. He doesn't really get a lot of dialogue or a lot of screen time, but he has a really great presence in this film, and how they have this kind of corrupt kind of company, but he won't let them screw him over, and he's not intimidated by them at all. And there's so many times throughout this film where he just like he's just so unfazed and just so not bothered, and he just fights back, and they just can't take him out, and he's just calm and in control of everything. And I think he did a really great job. He has some really great moments throughout the film. So yeah, I really liked all the cast, I liked all the actors, and I think they all did a really great job at embodying their kind of respective characters. What I really liked about the story of this film was a lot of elements of kind of mystery and intrigue that really kind of drew me into the film and kept me engaged throughout, because as I said, it's kind of quite an understated, subtle film. It's not a big, loud, noisy, action-packed, in-your-face film, but I like that, and the elements of mystery and intrigue and drama really kind of kept me invested and hooked throughout this film, because there's this other character who Scarlett Johansson meets. I don't want to get into spoilers here, but a lot of people have criticised the film, saying that there's kind of like two villains, and the first villain was really cool, and then they move on to this other generic villain. But the way I see it is that the first villain, he's not really a villain. He's someone we think is a villain, and it's ultimately revealed that he's not a villain. And then there's this other guy who becomes the villain in the end. But I would argue he was the villain from the very beginning. Like this I don't want to get into spoilers here, but there's the people who were the villains were the bad guys from the beginning. We were just unaware of it, and it's not until later on in the film where we become aware, and Scarlett Johansson becomes aware. And I liked how they did it, and I liked how they had these little hints and these little seeds that were planted throughout the film in terms of the character of Major, you know, her backstory and these kind of things that she was trying to remember, what was real, what wasn't, what's kind of planted in there as false memories, what is actually kind of real, you know. And I liked how they did that because I thought it was really great storytelling, you know, when it comes to the big reveal at the end and we're like, oh yeah, we can look back over the film and we remember all these little kind of seeds that were planted, all these little hints, and we were like, oh yeah, it all adds up now, it all makes sense. And I love it when films do things like that, where they plant little things here and there where they don't really mean much the first time, you don't really pick up on them, but as you get to the end of the film and you look back on the film, you're like, oh yeah, I get what those things were doing there now, it all makes sense. And I love how they did that. And also, another one of the best things about this film for me was the score. I love the music in this film, just from that opening 15-minute preview I saw, but the whole film, it had this great, almost Only God Forgives-esque synthesized soundtrack. It was awesome. I loved it. I love that kind of music. It really reminded me of the kind of score from Only God Forgives. I don't think it was the same composer, but it was very reminiscent of that. And I loved the music from the very get-go throughout the film. I love that they went with that, you know, instead of just a generic kind of action movie soundtrack, they went with that kind of synthesized music that was almost like Only God Forgives to a Blade Runner almost. I loved it. I thought it was great. If I had any negatives, if I had to criticise this film, I think there were probably some issues pacing wise. You know, I like the fact that it wasn't just balls to the wall, frantic, fast paced action throughout, but there were some moments that kind of dragged a bit, where it kind of slowed down and it meandered a bit, and there were some lulls throughout the film. Even though for the most part I liked the pacing, I liked the fact that it was slower paced, there were other moments where it wasn't kind of moving very well and it kind of slowed down a bit and kind of stopped and kind of, you know, so there were some issues I think pacing wise if I had to criticise this film. But overall, guys, I actually really like Ghost in the Shell. I know it's kind of not the popular opinion. I feel like I'm only one of the only people on the internet that actually likes this film, other than Chris Stuntman, who actually gave a positive review. But yeah, a lot of people have come out saying that they really didn't like this film, really hated it. For me, if I'm judging this film based on its own merits and just taking it for what it is, I actually liked the film. I thought it was good. I can't compare it to the anime because I haven't seen the original anime film. But for me, I liked this film. I thought it was really good. So in the end, I'm going to give Ghost in the Shell 4 stars. I did put out a tweet on Twitter actually saying that I think this is my favourite dystopian sci-fi since Looper, and I would stand by that. I don't think this is one of the best sci-fi films of the decade or anything like that, but as far as dystopian sci-fi is concerned, if we're not counting Snowpiercer as dystopian, you know, I count that as more post-apocalyptic, this probably is my favourite dystopian sci-fi since Looper. Nowhere near as good as Looper, but I'll still stand by that. I still really like this film, and I actually thought it was really good. So there we go, guys. That wraps up my review of Ghost in the Shell. Have you seen the film yet? And if so, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you like this and you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe to see more. But for now, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.